Great morning, everyone. How are you doing? Happy Tuesday. This is your girl, Shan. Thank you so much for joining us last night on the show, Marriage Mondays with the Kings, where we spoke about marriage, relationship, and your health. And so next week, we'll be speaking on control. When you're in a marriage and you have a spouse that wants to control you. Let me go ahead and just say this. This one probably ain't going to be a pleasant video, but it's going to be a real video. So I'm going to be talking to the wives on today. I know this can go both ways with the husbands and the wives, but I'm going to be speaking to the wives on today. Good morning, Simone. I'll just put it to you like this. If you're an individual who it's hard for you to accept the truth and you get easily offended, you project your anger onto other people and try to make it their excuses, what you do not want to do is listen to this video. So I highly encourage you. Good morning, Evelyn. If you get easily offended as a female, if you get easily offended as a wife, go ahead and click off of this. It will not hurt my feelings in the least bit. But this morning, what I'm going to be speaking about is, wives, do you emasculate your husbands? Now, I even brought out, good morning, Natasha. I even brought out the good old laptop so we can take it to the good old dictionary, because a lot of people probably say, honestly, I don't even know what emasculate means. Let me read that for you before I get into that. So the definition of emasculate is to derive a man of his male role or identity. The example is he feels emasculated because he cannot control, whatever. The second one is make a person, idea, or piece of legislation weaker or less effective. Emasculate. That's what that means. I put a post on Facebook. And it said something to the fact of there are so many women going around complaining that there is a lot of sorry men out there, but some of you are raising them. Okay, I'm going to go to that in just a minute, but let me go ahead and stick with these wives, okay? Something that irritates me to no end is to hear a wife sit up and complain about how, I want my husband to be the head. He's not being who God created, especially in the church, baby. I ain't talking about my fellow church folks. He not being who God created for him to be. Why can't my husband be like this? Why can't he be like that? Why couldn't he get this education? Why couldn't he run this CEO Fortune 500 company, be the CEO of that? You always talking about why can't your husband? But see, this is what burns me like no other. Let me go ahead and break it down like this early in the morning, Jesus, okay? You cannot have yourself a good, strong husband if you do not help to build a good, strong husband. You hear me? Especially if you know his background and he did not have male figures in his life to teach him what a man is supposed to be and to teach him how to be the head of his household. If he didn't have that, you as the wife are the one who is responsible for lifting your husband's arms up like Aaron and Ur. You hear me? Aaron and Ur. Let me say it like that as the word of the scripture. Because see, some people be wanting the Bible thump. So let me go ahead and thump with you. Okay? I cannot stand to hear a woman just disrespect her husband. It irritates me to no end, but yet and still you sitting up here crying talking about what your husband is not. But baby, let me go ahead and tell you like this, just like I was saying about that Facebook post, if your husband is not, 9 times out of 10 is because of you. If you've been married to him for over so many years and your husband is not, I'm not going to put it solely on you, but as a wife, you do not understand through our prayers, okay? Through our support, through our lifting them up, we have the power to help them be who God has created for them to be. But the thing that we want to do is we want to disrespect our husbands and act a fool. Baby, let me tell you this. I cannot stand to be in public. Good morning, Alex. I cannot stand to be in public and see a woman disrespect. And I know some of y'all women are saying, but the man disrespecting women. We're not talking about that today. What we're speaking on is the wives who disrespect their husbands. The wives who talk crazy out their mouth about their husbands. Life and death is in the power of the tongue. And they that love it should eat the fruit thereof. That's what let me Bible thump with you on this morning. Because a lot of people that I see this, I see a lot of people outside of the church, but I'm seeing too many people inside of the church. Do you hear me? So that scripture, life and death is in the power of the tongue. I'm going to break it down to you, wives. Are you building up your husband with your mouth? Are you encouraging your husband? Are you telling your husband how awesome that they are? Are you telling your husband thank you for the things that he does for your family, even if it's something that you don't think, oh, he's not doing enough of? It's the little things. Because let me tell you something about in my marriage. My husband validates me. My husband tell me how proud he is of me. Thank you for everything that you're doing. Thank you for raising my children. Maybe your husband is not like that, but he tells you in his own way. And then when he try to tell you, you sit up here and shut him down. Then when he try to do something special for your nasty behind, oh yes, I'm taking it there on today, you got your lips poked out and you complaining. Oh, that's not a big enough ring. Oh, that's not an expensive enough dress or whatever. You should be grateful for the little things that he is trying to do to tell you how much he loves you. Every time he tries to step in and tell your children as the head of household something they should be doing, you contradicting. Let me go ahead and jump real quick on into that Facebook post that I was talking about how you have so many women that are complaining that there are not good men out there, but your tail is raising some sorry men. Okay, let's talk about that. Now, one thing that I had to learn, and this is an example, and a lot of women do not know this, especially when you have yourself a male child, okay? When you have a male child, when they get to a certain age, even though we say that they're mama's boys, oh, this gonna always be my baby, or whatever the case may be, I think about that with all of my boys, because we don't have no favorites in our house. But when my boys got to a certain age, that little stanky phase, when they started to smell musty, and they didn't want to take showers and all that other kind of stuff unless they was on that pretty boy level, then, congratulations. But when they got to that stage, that's the stage of mama when you need to start backing up and allowing daddy to teach your son how to be a man. But see, we got these wives up here that when you disrespect your husband, when you talk crazy and talk down to your husband in front of your sons, and then you see, who help me, Father, this thing makes me mad. And then you sit up and you turn around because some of the mothers, no disrespect, and this ain't going to just singles because this is married as well. You smother, okay? You smother your boys. You want your boys to always depend on you for life, breath, water, and all this other stuff when you should be teaching them how to, good morning, Cousin Kim, depend on God. How to, son, I'm not going to be on this earth always. I understand I'm your mother, but when I do leave this earth, you have to know how to get before God and pray out to God. And you, being the head of your household, is going to have to know how to cover your family in prayer, okay? How to lift your wife up. How many of y'all mothers out there who smother your boys are teaching them how to be a husband to somebody else, okay? See, that's how we teach ours. They know that from little. You gonna be somebody's wife. So I'm gonna need you to get it together, because our future daughter-in-laws ain't gonna, no. They not gonna be out there talking about, oh, yeah, this and this. Yes, we don't raise our sons to be perfect, but we do raise them to know the basics of being somebody's husband. But wives, let me get back to you real quick. When you sit up here saying stupid stuff out of your mouth about your husband, you do not understanding what you are releasing onto your husband. Oh, he's sorry. Oh, he never do anything. Oh, he's stupid. You know what I'm saying? I never talk about my king like that. You cannot have a king if you always talking about him like he a joker. Okay? You as the queen should learn how to support and uplift. If you have those thoughts in your head, let it be a thought in your head. Don't allow it to come out of your mouth, because when you allow it to come out of your mouth, that life and death is in the power of the tongue. You are destroying your husband, because this is the thing about a husband and a wife marriage. It's supposed to be the tightest bond ever. It's supposed to be a bond that's ordained by God. You see what I'm saying? So you sitting up here talking about your husband out of his mouth, you disrespecting him in front of your sons, but you expect your son to grow up to be a strong king? No, you raising a punk. Let me go ahead and keep it real up in here. I told y'all at the beginning of the video, if y'all just joining me, that this ain't the video you want if you soft-hearted, okay? You sitting up here raising a punk. That's what you raising, because you're teaching your son how a woman should treat him. And so for when he meets this girlfriend who's controlling, manipulating, talking him down like his dirt, and he's falling more and more in love with that woman, and you sitting up here getting mad because you trying to tell him, baby, that ain't who you want to be with because she ain't about nothing. Look how she talk to you. Look how she disrespect you. Look how she using your money and all this other kind of stuff, baby. You taught him that, okay? Because this is the thing about children. When they're young, they're impressionable. They're learning. They're being molded. We are supposed to be training them up in the way that they should go. So what type of training are you giving your son? What type of training? It makes my heart feel good to know that we did everything possible when it came to our boys. We got that 2 outside the house, one in college and one is married with his own family. But when we did everything we could when it came to our boys, you know what I'm saying? Here you go, God. He's on his own. Because see, when you don't do right as a mother, okay, when you don't do right as a wife in your training, even when your child get married, you still try to control his life. You still try to control everything that he's doing. Good morning, Nikesha. You still trying to control. Baby, let me tell you something. All these things that I have said is an example of emasculating, okay? You are emasculating your husband. In turn, you are emasculating your son. When you train up your child in the way that he should go, so that way when he get old, he will not depart from it. And 9 times out of 10, especially those who came up in the church, that means depart from the things of God. You can comfortably, even though it's scary, send your child out and say, okay, God, I'm trusting and believing you, and I have faith that he's in your hands. So you don't have to control every little thing in his life. You have that faith and interject that faith. But you can't sit up here and get mad at the way that you see things are being done with your son when you sitting up here treating your husband like he's a punk. When you sitting up here not encouraging your husband. When you treating your husband like the only thing he's good for is a paycheck. Okay? Marriage is way more than that. And see, that's the thing that I like about God. Because one thing that I've learned in my life is if you do not appreciate that which you have, if you are not grateful, if you're forever complaining to God about the little things that you have, then baby, the next thing you know, you turn up and you look around and you won't have it. Either your king is either with somebody else because you've treated him so badly, he's tired of being treated like that. You've never spoken a positive word into his life. You never supported him or whatever. You say, well, I supported him. I've kept the house clean. I did this. Baby, supporting and uplifting your king and treating him like a king is much more than keeping the house clean, baby. It's speaking life into your husband. It's speaking positivity. You speak what you seek until you see what you say. Okay? Because I remember sometimes when me and my husband first got married. Yeah, my husband's not perfect and I'm not a perfect wife. And it took other queens. You heard me? Not petty brides. But it took other queens to teach me how to be a wife to my husband, and I received that, and they taught me through the trial and error in which they've been through. But if we sit up here and emasculate our husbands, but we expect them to be a king, you have to sit back and ask yourself, am I a queen that is uplifting my husband? Am I a queen that's supporting my husband? Am I a queen that is speaking life into my husband, speaking life over my husband, praying over my husband? Am I a queen, or am I acting like some petty little female who act like she don't know any better? So you have to ask yourself, wives, which category of this do you fall in? Because you cannot expect to have a strong, loving, supportive marriage where you do an iron sharpeneth iron, like the word of God say, if you are not doing your part. The word of God says what we're supposed to do. We are supposed to honor our husbands. But when you talking crazy and ignorant out your mouth, you're not honoring your husband. What you're doing is you making yourself look like a jack. You fill in the blank. That's what you're making yourself do. So yeah, you may have been through some ups and downs in your marriage. You may have been through some things in your marriage, but ask yourself, are you emasculating your husband? And emasculation is not a good thing. It is not a good thing. So let us not sit up here complaining about how sorry the men out here today are out here in this world, if you're not doing anything to help uplift, if you're not doing anything to help make it better, you know what I'm saying? Yes, me as a woman, I can't teach a young man how to be a young man. That's when our fellow men need to step up and at least teach them how to tie a tie, or teach them, you know what I'm saying, this is how you match this together, even if it's not your child. Because I remember growing up, when you had the older men, my grandparents and all that, they would take young men under their wings. But see, we're not talking about that. We're talking about the women who you sitting up here mad and you huffing and puffing like the magic dragon up in this joker because you can't find a good man. But ask yourself, because you know how I say that good old circle, what goes around comes around. If you treated your husband bad, how can you expect your son to be good and strong and all this other kind of stuff? If you put out there in the universe sorry, no disrespect, because some of y'all get mad, she talking about my baby. No, I'm talking about you. I ain't talking about your baby. I'm talking about you. If you put that out there in the universe, then don't expect to get a good man back. You see what I'm saying? So we as women, we as wives, we as mothers have a huge responsibility, whether you know it or not. Yes, the man always get the face, just like a CEO of the company. He's going to always be the face. Like you got the little dude, the Papa John's commercial. John, whatever his name is, he's the face of Papa John's. But you got all the people behind him that's making it happen. That's just, I don't mind playing that role as my husband's queen. I don't mind, because guess what? When my king step out and he look good and he look nice, then that means I look good and I look nice. But me sitting up here chopping this man down, treating him like he's nothing, treating him less than what God created him to be, is not what God has called for us in our marriage. So wives, ladies, mothers, if this is you, I'm gonna need you to get it together. Because, and let me tell you this, I'm not trying to be mean, but if you emasculate your husband, please don't be around me. Because see, the thing about me is I tell the truth, and people can't stand my truth because if they feel some kind of way. Don't get mad at me, get mad at yourself. Because I don't know if you do this kind of thing, but this is something has been boiling in my blood all night. You hear me? And I had to speak the truth. Ladies, don't emasculate our men, and don't raise sorry men as well. Don't raise sorry boys as well. If you're a single mother, have a strong, solid example of a man in your child's life. You see what I'm saying? But us smothering and us disrespecting our husband in front of our boys is not going to raise strong men. We as mothers don't understand, we as wives don't understand that we can break this cycle of what's considered to be a weak and sorry man by what we speak out of our mouth. Life and death is in the power of the tongue. What type of fruit are you eating? Y'all have a blessed day. Thank you again for joining Marriage Mondays with the Kings last night. And your girl Shannon, be back with y'all tomorrow. Be a blessing and not a curse, okay? Love you all with the love of Christ. God bless.